Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Solana. Before we jump into the price action, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. And why not leave us some feedback down below as well. In the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. There is a lot happening down there. So once you're in the general chat area, just add mention member staff. We'll be happy to help you out. Okay, so basically we're still looking for the same ideas here. We can argue that this fifth wave potentially completes lower here, sorry, further back here, but we've got two options that I'm currently looking at. What I am looking for is the potential to actually push down deeper for this B wave into this zone. However, we need to just be cautious that we don't end up having a shorter B wave here and then looking to actually push up higher. So basically, we'll have to just keep an eye on this move and then look for this potential to start extending here because we are still within that 0.382 zone of the move. So this is still something that we could actually look to push up one more time if we do get an extension here that we haven't quite identified at this point. So effectively, we just need to be a little bit careful within the structure. I am still thinking that we're going to go down a bit more here, but there is still possibility to push up slightly before doing so. So we're going to go over a couple of the accounts that we are following. So if we are looking at the potential from this area here. Effectively, what we'd be looking for would be the possibility that we can look at this in two ways, and we can either look at this potentially as a ABC into this low, and then we're actually looking for a B wave, or we can count this slightly different, where this is a WXY into here. We have a smaller X wave, and then potentially we're actually going to come back and look to retest this zone and look to break down one more time for a 5 wave structure. So looking at this move, effectively what we'd be looking for is this B wave. This B wave rejection zone. We've actually come, let me just throw this fib onto here. So we've actually come up into the 702. If we do progress higher here, the last sort of zone of defense I'd be looking for would basically be this 2319. Moving much higher than this 786 would make this less likely to be playing out. So we'd want to actually start to see this get a rejection from this point and then actually look to start breaking down for the C wave. So if we do actually get a rejection below this X wave high point, which is sitting at this 2424, effectively what we'd be looking for would be a move down towards this zone here of this 121, which would be this 1834 area. Just need to remeasure this because I think this has moved up slightly. It has. So this would actually be 1847 at this point that we currently have here. So basically what we're looking for is the potential for a rejection in this zone. If, however, we do come back up and retest this X wave here, it is also possible that we could still have this as just a connector wave where this is just an A, we come back for a B, test this wave here, and then actually what we have is a move like this, where we have this as a completed move into here. We get a corrective move up into this zone again, and then we look to break down. So that rejection zone is this red box area here. So this 2218, and then effectively this 0.618 would be this 2320, and then 2473 would be a 0.786 retracement. So this could be interesting if we do move up into this zone, whether we actually manage to break above the swing high here. Alternatively, we could fail that and then, like I said, look for continuation to the downside. So I am still looking potentially for some downside here, whether we're looking at it in this way or alternatively, there is a more bearish count if we're looking at this potentially completing here, where we can argue that we could be setting up a series of ones and twos here. So this is uh, you there's a lot basically we got to see this play out. There's less confidence when you have a series of ones and twos like this because they could just be a corrective move, like I said, into this low, and then we look to invalidate. Basically, invalidation of this count would come back crossing back above this 2424, 2615, and 2680 effectively would invalidate this potential for a move down in a 5 wave structure. Until we actually do break these high points, though, we need to just be aware that we could actually see this play out as a flat correction where this is an A, this is a B, and then we look for that C wave to the upside. If I throw this fib on here, we can already see that we've come up here and we've hit this 1-to-1. So, I mean, that would be the minimum area we'd be looking for as a flat. That 1-to-1 has been met. So if we do start to break down here in a 5 wave move, and that 5 wave move actually starts to get some legs to it, and we meet this zone here, the 1613, then it would actually indicate to me that it's more likely that we could see these extensions play out. But we'd have to wait for evidence of these fourth waves, because otherwise, like I said, we can also just look at this as a simple corrective structure from here as an A, potentially a B, and then we break down for C wave and it's done. So we'll have to see how exactly we get there. If we do get these additional fourths and fifths to the downside, effectively what this could do is set us up for a bigger drop, potentially down towards this 1306 range. Obviously, this is all just worked off of fibs. The structure will vary and will mean that we have to adjust these, but this is just to get an idea of some zones. So this 1306 to this 1154. So we could see that could actually bring us back down into this box. However, if we did form a bigger 5 wave move like this, it would indicate to me that it's actually more likely we're going to set another low here. Um, Unless we get a deeper B wave and then we actually get a C wave, which doesn't manage to break this $8 area. If we do, however, break that $8 zone, we've got to just be careful, because this could be extending out, where potentially we could even look at this as an A, B, and then looking for that C wave to the downside. It wouldn't be very likely, the fact that we just have this 5 wave move, and the only way it would make sense is if we actually come from further back here and say we've had a flat as an A, a B, and a C. So that would then mean that we'd be potentially looking for another drop to the downside. If that were the case, it's not my favorite interpretation of this, because it wouldn't really fit into this 5 wave structure. But effectively, that would then mean that we would be looking for, let me just get onto this high point, a 1-to-1 of this 622. So that could be a zone we actually look to retest if we lose this low. Potentially it could go lower as well, so we just need to bear that in mind. Okay, so that's looking at the downside potentials within this. If we do get a deeper correction, like I said, the lower target zone would be this 1469 to this 1038. This would be looking for this B wave retracement, looking for the possibility that we actually have a corrective structure, either as an A, B, and a C, or alternatively a 1, 2, and then looking for the third wave. So this zone will be important on the retracement here. We have currently broken out of this channel that we were looking at within this, but we can look at this move slightly different. So we're going to talk about those. If we adjust where our fifth wave ends, we can argue that we could still be within a corrective structure like this, where actually we're starting to move down, and basically within this, what we'd be looking for is that this would be a W. So let me turn it on. The possibility that this is a WXY or an ABC, depending on how you want to count this move. You can count it as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5 into there. It still wouldn't cross this wave 1, so that is a possibility that you can count it into this point. But basically, what we'd be looking for within this is the potential that we could actually continue within the channel line, and looking at this as a W, and then basically looking to form an X or a B wave in this location. And what we'd then be looking for is a continuation to the downside. If we did form something like this, what we would be looking for potentially as a target zone, if we had to come up into the C wave low, yeah, let's say we come up into this yellow box area. A 1-to-1 would actually be bringing us back down to the 1754. So in this case, it would be quite an interesting area, because this would be the wave 2 of an extension in the fifth wave, which could actually be an interesting zone if we do move down a little bit deeper towards the 1634 to this 1564. If we do move down into this area, we can argue that potentially this could then look to complete a B wave or a wave 2. Though we would have to monitor the structure and just see how we get there, because if we fail to actually break above some of these high points, we can't eliminate that potential that we have a bigger 5 wave structure here playing out. So we're going to have to give this a bit of space and see how it plays out. Okay, so effectively what I'm looking at here is the potential we have a flat. So like I said, we've met the minimum requirement of that 1-to-1. This yellow box area here, this 2469 to this 2339, 37, that is a C wave potential extension zone. We wouldn't really want to push above this 2469 though, really. That would be sort of a maximum area we're going to be looking for. But basically, what we'd be looking for is the potential for that continuation to the downside from this yellow box. We can see this ties in quite nicely with this top channel line here. It is also possible, this move could get more complex where it actually forms a connector wave in here again and then pushes up. Where this becomes an A, we come back down for a B, and then we form a C to the upside. So, all these things are still possible at the moment. For as long as we do have this potential for a five-way move here, we can also look at some bullish potential here that we could have the potential to break to the upside. So what we'd want to see here, if we're looking for that bullish potential, effectively would be that this would be looking to complete as a wave one. It could potentially have a little bit more in it. We'd have to look one, two. Yeah, I mean, we'd have to look at this as a one, two, three, four, and a five as a diagonal. The problem is with looking at it like that is that we would have unless there's extension. So let me just check this again. We've got a lot of overlap here currently. So the only way that makes sense is as an extension. We would have to argue though that if you're 1, 2, 1, 2. So yeah, I mean there is potential we could actually complete into this point here as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 up into this high, and this could just be a corrective move for a 2. Or alternatively, we could have this as a 1, 2, and then if we're going to form an additional 1, 2 here. So if we do manage to hold this zone, we could actually look for potential bullish moves here, where we actually do get a push up one more time. So this would be looking for the potential. If we hold this low, and I mean this is just off of the current structure. If we had a retracement to this 50% to the 786, so this 2209 to this 2172, we could argue that we could start to see some bullish potential here, where this becomes a 1 and a 2. And then actually we look to break up for a 3, 4, and a 5, and then potentially that would look to give us a bigger five-wave structure here. Though for the moment, I'm just looking at this potentially as a single five-wave move, looking for that potential to come back for a 2. Like I said, it could be a diagonal in here where that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get this as a fifth, and we actually complete as a diagonal here, and then push back for this wave 2. So the important thing here is holding this 1973. We hold this zone and we do look for this deeper retracement. Basically, this 2120 to this 2034 would be our zone. We're looking at golden pockets sitting here at this 2083 to this 2075 off of the current structure. So, this is a possibility. If we do continue to move up here, we could also have further extensions where this becomes a 1-2, a 1-2. This is a 1-2. Then we basically start to push up and get more traction within this move. However, really only confirming this would, if we're looking at this as a 1, looking for that 2, currently, well, or for that 0.618 tracement, effectively this target would be this 2622 for a third wave ideally. Then we'd be looking for that fourth and a fifth. So these are still possible. Problem is there is a little bit of overlap within this structure, so I don't really like the count. Like I said, you can argue that it's a diagonal where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, it would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this would be a zigzag for a fifth wave here. But really, this would be looking to potentially actually start topping out now if this is the case. The one-to-one is this 2299. It could extend slightly higher here and come towards this 2337 or this 2360. But if we do move above this 1.618 area, we'd have to look at the possibility of having extension within here where this becomes a 1-2, like I said. Then we'd get a third wave, a fourth wave, and a fifth wave, and then we'd have that continuation of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially. Alternatively, it could just be a corrective move into this channel and we break down. So the retracement on this is going to be quite important. If we do break down from this point, I mean, the 1 hour stochastic is in the overbought, so it is possible we could start to see a retracement here. If that retracement holds this low, we could look for extension, like I said. This becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we would have to count this as an additional 4 and a 5. Then we'd potentially have an additional fourth and a fifth here. And then effectively that could look to actually bring us up into some of these zones where we can start to count this as a more impulsive trigger, more impulsive structure. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. It needs a little bit more time to develop this. It'll be important to see how we react around this channel top, which currently sits at this 2381, as well as some of these zones that we are retesting that were previously support here. Failing to break through this zone could indicate that bigger five-wave structure could play out. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, everyone. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.